the Fouga Magister, the Butterfly Jet, Majestic Magister. One of my all-time favourite aircraft, and one that I've built a few times on this channel. It's time for a German variant. Hey guys, it's model making time, and we're back today looking at the Fouga Magister. This time, the Fouga Magister we're looking at is a really special boxing. I eyed this up on a certain auction site for probably about a year, maybe more. I actually found it in one of my French Februaries, and I've just been obsessed with it since. So when I finally got the opportunity to go, I can expense this, I went for it. So today we're building Heller's 1/72 scale Fouga Magister, but a special German boxing. So with that, we're of course building a German display team variant. If you haven't seen my other videos, I built the Belgian display team, the Rouge de Devils or Diable Rouge, and I've also built the French display team, Patrouille de France, the Patrol of France. I've used the Heller kit previously, but I've also done the Aerobatics kit when I did this Silver Swallows display team. So yeah, I've built a lot of Fougas at this point. So if you haven't seen those videos, have a look in the description below, and there's probably one of the videos floating above me now so that you can go and have a look at it. But maybe open it in another tab and watch it after this one. And if you want to be kept up to date with other videos in the future, be subscribed to the channel. You can do so just by hitting subscribe down below. And if you want to support the channel even more, you can become a channel member. Channel members just support the channel even more, but advanced kits get shouted out at the end of each video. And I'm looking at other ways where in the future I might be able to give something back to the community too. And if you want to be part of a lovely community of model makers where you can chat and discuss your latest builds, then feel free to join the Discord. The link is in the description down below. It's a really welcoming and loving place in a forum style, so you can share your latest builds or your finished creations. Now, normally we'd go through the history of the plane itself, but I've done that kind of to death at this point, having done the Fouga several times. So we're only going to have a look at the history of the display team that we're looking at today. I tried researching this and there wasn't an awful lot online about this display team, so I've mainly used aerobatics teams.net to sort of, well, do the main research for this, and then just sort of looked for bits and pieces online, but there really isn't a lot out there for this team. The team was originally formed in 1959 by the West German Luftwaffe and was made up of 4 British flying school instructors. At the time, this kind of makes sense, even if it seems a bit nonsensical, because Germany wasn't obviously one country and relied on support from other countries, both for the supply of its sort of armament and aviation, but also for education to support that rearmament following the end of World War II. The team started training in 1960 with its first display on the 24th of April 1960 at, and I'm going to butcher this name, Reutlingen. The German Fougas, both in Marine Flagger and Luftwaffe service, were a mix of plain silver and of camouflage display schemes. In fact, you can see the boxing that I have has a Fouga Magister with full camo scheme. I'm not sure if there was a divide between the services themselves, and there was a book on this, which I ended up not buying, but you can see it here. And I just didn't want to spend the money just for this video, but I would say if you're really interested in this book seems to be the go-to place to get it. Now, originally these Fouga Magisters did not have any particular paint scheme, but in 1961 they did receive their unique scheme. The scheme is still quite simple, with a metallic basis, but featuring prominent red stripes and a German flag on the tail of the aircraft, or should I say at the time a Western German flag. The team did not survive for very long, however, with its most prominent display apparently being to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the West German Air Force. It would only be in 1962, on May the 27th, where the team flew its last display. Now, the name of this team is something that I have perhaps deliberately avoided because I know I can't say the name of it very well, but the team is often referred to as FFS Acro Team. FFS stands for the Flying School, but in German, which is the Flugschule A, probably said that nowhere near correctly, and it was an acrobatic team, so Acro A. This wasn't even an official team name, and from what I've looked at and also from what the main source on Aerobatics Teams.net says, they don't really have an official name, and sometimes it's referred to as the Magisters, referring to the aircraft itself, which was not an uncommon naming scheme. Yeah, it seems to be like this is a team that definitely existed, definitely had a purpose, but was not particularly well documented. But again, this wasn't uncommon. This was like a growing trend in sort of the armed forces of the West and I guess of the world, so it's not really a surprise, but it's a bit of a shame. And that's about it for the history of the team itself. Now, in terms of how I'm doing this kit, I'm not doing a full kit history, but I will just let you sort of understand how I'm doing this. So I am actually using the 2024 release of Special Hobbies Fouga Magister. This is their Aerobatic Teams kit because it features the German team that we wanted. But I wanted to use the Heller boxing of the kit because it's got the German team on the front, and it kind of just makes sense to do something iconic with, well, such an iconic kit. I will of course be able to use the kit later on if I want to do another Fouga Magister, and I have been eyeing up the Red Devil scheme because it's got sort of all the markings on, which was sort of the anniversary display scheme which they use on their preserved flying aircraft, which I have seen when I went to the Belgian Air Force days. So it is something I'll probably cover more in the future, but just so you get a heads up, I'm using those decals on the Heller kit. We don't really need to do an unboxing for this kit either, just because we've seen this kind of a million times. So I guess we're just going to go straight in and have a look at me building this beautiful model kit. I have built this kit so many times at this point that I don't even really need to look at the instructions, but I always do just to be on the safe side. Now, a disclosure, obviously I did buy this kit used because it's quite an old kit and it did have a few bits missing. Some bits I think I lost, such as some of the clear parts, and in terms of some of the plastic parts, at least one was just lost. Now anyway, I began by cutting out the wing sections and gluing them together. I used my Godhand sprue cutters and Tamiya glue. The glue I use is pretty much just whatever I have on hand. The sprue cutters were given to me by eModels, so thank you for giving me those. I do really enjoy them. We then had to fit on the end of the wings, the little tanks at the end. This is just two parts, you glue them together and then they pop onto the ends of the wings really nicely, really easy to do. Now obviously for a lot of this kit it is duplication because, well, I guess like most jets, it's the same thing on either side. So once I got that done, I then looked at putting the air engine intakes, and this is where I lost one of the parts. So normally you have like a flat piece that goes on the inside, and then the overall cover is one of the flat pieces on the inside that I did lose, and I just made it with like a spare old part I had. I just cut it roughly to the same size and then popped it in, and it seemed to look okay because you're not really going to see inside too much. I think I got away with it, to be honest. It's one of the parts that's good to lose, because if I'd lost the cover instead, I would have been kind of at a loss. I didn't really want to have to buy another one of the kits, so I figured this was the best way to do it. You can see I put some fillet in there as well, just to make sure I got the level correct. And then overall, once it was all in place, I don't think you can tell too much, or at least you won't when it's all primed. Sticking the wings in place, you then have to put in the vertical control surfaces, but of course on the Fouga they are not really vertical or horizontal, they're in the middle with the butterfly design. Really love this about the Fouga, it's one of the most iconic parts of it and really gives it that distinctive look. Glue this in place with Tamiya, and then it was on to the cockpit. The cockpit is comprised of two seats, two control panels, and the control columns. The main thing missing, and I think it's on the newer kits from Airfix, it's either not in this kit or I lost the part, but is the I can't remember what you call them now, the periscope that goes sort of in between the two seats, because that was how the person sat in the rear seat would actually see in front. There's a periscope. If you want to see more information about that, go check out my Silver Swallows Airfix build review, because I do a full history of it in there, and it's just bizarre that this had it.
Now, I did forget to record the primer, but I used Panther Grey primer from Life Colour and then went over the top of it with polished aluminium. Once the polished aluminium was done, I went over with a second thin coat before going over with a gloss varnish. I currently use Amo's Lucky Gloss Varnish, but I have been known to use like Humbrels as well, but they're just the ones I currently use. Obviously, pretty much all the paints I use at Life Colour. Now, I really like the Life Colour metal series. They can look a bit odd sometimes when you first throw them down, but they tend to settle really nicely. My Draken has the best metal finish I've ever done, and that was done entirely with Life Colours. I wished I'd done some pre-shading prior because it really does show through with the Life Colour metal series, but unfortunately I didn't. You can see me dangling the plane and it might look I'm just sort of dropping it, but it was actually to try and distribute some of the paints around a bit that it's sort of grouped up. This is it partway through the finishing process, but if you want to see the full thing, make sure to go and subscribe to the channel so that you can be kept up to date with my latest videos and see the live streams, which are on Sundays. Normally they're about 7ish, 6:30ish. They're going to vary depending on my videos because I'm going to start putting them out on Sundays hopefully, but yeah. You can see it almost dry now and it looks really quite nice. Now once it was all dry, it was time to paint the wheels, which I used with matte black. I do also have a rubber colour, but yeah. Now, I'm using Special Hobbies decals for this. As you can tell, they look really nice next to the aircraft. You can see that almost all of them would probably fit. There were a few areas where the decals didn't fit super well. Obviously, that's not the fault of the decals because this is not the kit that the decals came with, but it gives me a lot of hope for when I do go ahead and build from the Special Hobby variants. I absolutely love these decals and it saved me buying a set. Thank you to the mother-in-law for these, as I guess I would refer to them as, because they got me this kit for, I think it was my birthday or it was Christmas 2023, the first Christmas I knew them, and I love this kit because I have got to do this with the decals and then I'm going to get to do a whole other Fouga with the decals. Probably will end up being French February next year. The decals on the bottom side are the most interesting because the red zigzag pattern goes across multiple different surfaces with sort of the wheels coming out as well. It's all broken up already so that you can easily put this onto the landing gear, mix both of those up, and also sort of the bits surrounding it. It's really, really nice. I did end up putting the decals that go on the nose a little too far back, a little too close to the cockpit, so they are going to get slightly covered. It is what it is. Now, one of the things you don't see me do in the course of this video is you don't get to see me cover the canopy. I think if I remember correctly, I also covered this one with looks like glass. I'm not entirely sure, but I've been trying to do that on most of my cockpits recently. And you'll notice that the end sections on the end of cells on the wings don't have the clear part in, neither does the front of the nose, and that's because I couldn't find these. I don't know if I lost them or if they didn't come with them. As I say, lots of parts were off sprues. It wasn't the best experience because it was a really old box thing, so I think they were lost. Either way, I just did them ones with some clear fix. Some of the decals do overhang, such as these German flags on the back, and I just ended up leaving them overhanging because I didn't want to potentially ruin the kit by going over them again and cutting them, so I just decided to leave them slightly overhanging. Now, these end ones on the nacelles should be a German flag, but unfortunately they don't go onto this kit very well at all. Again, I'm 99.9% sure this is the fault of the kit and not the fault of the model, so it's gonna look rubbish on the end result, but that's absolutely fine because that's just what happened. But the rest of the model, I just think looked amazing. So I'll leave you with me finishing off the decals before we go and look at it popping off.
Right then, so we've now finished building this kit, and I think I did a relatively good job on this. The finish on the aircraft, I'm not 100% convinced on. I don't know if I over-thinned my paint. It came out initially looking really grainy, and like the metallic pigments were just really spread out and it looked really weird. But then as the paint set and dried, it looks okay. So I'm quite happy with how the metallic finish, I guess, turned out. I don't think it's great to scale, but I think it looks okay for what it is. So I guess we just need to go and have a look at the Fouga Magister popping off. Well, what did you think? I can't really do buy or fly from this because I've not really reviewed the full kit in either sense. Obviously, if you just like really weird kits, this is definitely one that you could go for. It's a really unique boxing of the Fouga Magister, and it kind of matches the finish one I had before. But at the end of the day, it's just a Fouga Magister in a different language. It's not particularly interesting as a model kit itself, just as a part of kit history, I guess. I'm proud of what I got in the end, and I think it's really fun that I've now got the French, Belgian, Irish, and German display team Fouga Magisters. Now I just need to work on a couple of more unique variants of the Fouga Magister before I've got like a full set. Maybe the next one I need to do needs to be like the Finnish displays one, or the Brazilian. I guess there's just not really a lot to say for this kit, so I hope you've enjoyed this small video. It's definitely a lot shorter than the other ones we've got this month in French February. And if you haven't seen already, there'll be 4 videos out this month celebrating French creations or things in French service for French February. And there's also my colleagues and content creators of Captain VFC, Model Minutes, and Femris who are all doing something unique for French February too. So make sure you go and check them out if you haven't done already. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel to be kept up to date with the latest videos that I do, and make sure you also like the video and drop a comment below. What are you building this French February? And if you want to join a lovely community of model makers, make sure to join the Discord. The description's down below. If you want to support the channel further, you can always become a channel member, which really helps fund the channel and do my unique creations. And that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Thank you to all of my channel members. I appreciate all of you. A special shout out goes to my advanced kit level members, including Dafty Duck, Bob and Genevieve Albridge, David Barber, Taggers365, Jeff's Dioramas, Iron Duke, Chris P, Model Making John, Phil, Bobby G, Callum's Modelling Centre, Darren Hall, Philip Jones, and Charles Parker, and my 2 longest supporting advanced kit level members, Explosive Water and Crazy Locha. I couldn't do this channel without you, and your support is absolutely invaluable to me. But if you've enjoyed what you've seen here today, well, would you look at that? There's a video here just for you. So why don't you go and check it out? And remember, subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date with the latest videos and community posts that I put out. Love ya. Bye.